Hello and welcome to the 2021 Squirtle Coaches Preview Show. My name is Andy Campbell. I am joined today by the head coach of the Cashion Wildcats, Lynn Shackelford. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Congratulations on the 2020 state championship.
Appreciate it, man. Glad to be here.
We have a lot to cover today. Let's start by recapping the 2020 season. I know you coaches are fairly reserved talking about themselves, but I'm hoping you can give us some kind of idea of what it meant to you to finally get over the hump and win that gold ball.
Well, I mean, not to have coach speak or stuff like that, but I talked about this with Swisher after the game was over with. It was kind of an odd feeling because every other year you end the season on a loss, and you just have to deal with what all that entails with kids and waking up the next morning and parents and just the community. So from that standpoint, it was kind of a surreal feeling because I'd never really felt that before as a head coach. So that part was different in an extremely good way. I think for me, it was a lot more about what it meant for our kids and what it meant for some, our assistant coaches and really for our community as a whole. Because we'd been so close so many other times and not been able to pull it off for whatever reason, either we weren't as good or we didn't play as well or whatever. But, just that feeling of accomplishment, that everybody starts the football season with this goal that we're going to win the state championship. And being able to do that was especially in the year that we had, was a pretty good feeling.
I want to take you back to December 11th, 2020, Skordle game of the week, semifinal game against Pawhuska that Cashion ended up winning 7-6. And in my mind was really the game of the year, and especially in Class A high school football. Cashion scored with 3:28 left in the fourth quarter to win that one. Could you kind of walk us through that game? There were a lot of ups and downs, probably a lot of frustrations for you calling the offense until you finally got that long pass from Harmon to Lagasse to win it, and then kind of the call that you made on that winning play.
Well, it was an extremely frustrating game from an offensive standpoint. I thought our defense was playing extremely well the whole game. I thought Coach Wood had just the best game plan we could possibly have in order to be able to slow them down. It was working, but they were so dangerous on offense and had so many weapons that you always thought they were one play away from kind of putting us in a position where I didn't think we could get back from, just because we were struggling so much on offense. I thought the first half we spent the whole half felt like inside our own 10. So it was kind of hard just to get any kind of momentum and get any kind of rhythm calling plays. And I thought in the second half we did a better job of running the football and being able to at least kind of move the field position a little bit and make it to where they had a few issues calling plays and getting in some rhythm on offense. And that drive where we scored, I think people forget the play before. Landon makes that catch. Mason Manning makes the catch on the sidelines. That's just incredible. It goes up over, the corner from Pawhuska and keeps his feet in and gets us kind of out of our own end zone and in a position where we could, you could take a shot. And I've talked about this a lot. Their nose guard was just absolutely dominating us the whole game. Made it to where we could hardly function on the offensive side of the ball, but. On that particular play, for whatever reason, we did a good job of getting him blocked. And Landon's the type of kid that, when he wants to be, I would have a hard time agreeing with somebody telling me there's a better receiver in A, and that there's very many more better receivers in our state. I don't care what class. And he made a move to get by the corner, and Ben had time to set his feet and throw the ball. And, I think from that point, our kids, we hammered them all week and all night about just stay in the game. We talk all the time around here about the importance of, and I know it's coach speak and everybody does it, but play the next play. Don't ever worry about what happened in the previous play. And I thought last year, and especially that night, was as good a job as we'd ever done from our kids' standpoint about kind of having that mentality. But once we were able to do that, then, I think it gave us a little bit extra juice on defense. We got another stop, and then we were able to eat up some clock running the football, and were able to pull out a win. But Puska was really, really good. They're going to be really, really good again. And I think the resiliency that our kids showed last year, just in all aspects of last year, was pretty impressive.
Coach, if you could kind of take us behind the scenes, locker room this spring, this summer, what have you told your kids or how have your kids responded trying to move on from winning that state championship to focus on the 2021 season?
Well, we talk about every year when we start the year, whatever it is, whether it's in the spring or August like last year or whatever, about just how much each year is different from the previous year, and how each team is so much different year to year. Whether we've had senior classes that have had 2 kids in it. We've had senior classes that have had 19 kids in it. So, once you start back, it doesn't really matter if you lose 2 kids or if you lose 19 kids. That next group of kids coming up, they're boys, they're high school boys, so they're always going to be a lot different than they were the previous 6 months. So we've really focused for 17 years since I've been here about talking about that and the importance of understanding that each year is different. Each year has its own set of challenges and its own set of goals. And what we did last year, really doesn't matter. We're going to have games that we're going to have to play, and we're going to have people that are going to want to beat us. And football season's forever long, and what you did last year doesn't really matter. And I hope our kids have continued to kind of take that mindset and been able to move forward with that. And we'll see. We've never been in this position before. We've come back off of years where we've lost in the finals. I think last year that was a big motivator for our seniors, especially. This is a new experience for us as a staff and for all of our kids to see how we react after winning it. But they worked hard this summer. We've been working hard so far this week in practice. So we'll see how it goes.
Coach, you mentioned your seniors last year. You had 2 seniors in particular who really carried your team throughout the whole season and really the playoffs, Braxton Green and Caden Harrell. They just had that refuse to lose mentality. Remind me a lot of what Trey Young did for the Hawks in the playoffs this summer. But how do you feel their void, Green and Harrell, on the field and with their leadership in 2021?
Leadership, I think you always – you just kind of lean on that next set of guys, whether it's, we've got a quarterback, Ben Harmon, that's going to be a 3-year starter, that's going to be a senior. You've got guys like Landon. Our center's going to be a 3-year starter for us, Joey Wilson. So, I think you just hope that next set of seniors are going to be able to fill the leadership role. As far as being able to fill the void that they had on offense and defense, you're talking about 2 guys that I think accounted for over 4,000 yards of offense. And, we're both top 4 or 5 leading tacklers on our team. So it's not going to be – we're not going to say, okay, well, these 2 guys are going to be the next 2 guys that go over 4,000 yards of offense for us. I think it's just going to be, it's going to be a group effort. And I don't know that we ever go into one season saying, we're going to just ride this kid until he breaks. Even last year, Braxton and Caden were phenomenal on offense, but we had 2 other receivers go, over 1,000 yards. And, we've got an offensive line that returns a lot of starters. And, we've got Nick DeBobby's going to play running back for us. And so, like I said, every year is different. Maybe this year we throw it more, or maybe this year we run it more, kind of based on what we are up front. So I don't ever look at it from the standpoint of, we've got to replace these guys and we've got to replace their productivity. I just look at it as this year offensively, this is where we think we can be pretty good. So this is what we're going to do. And kind of the same thing on defense. We've got guys that we're going to plug in, and maybe that means that we're different on defense than we were last year in order to play to our strengths that we have this year.
Coach, you obviously wanting to repeat state championship this year. You mentioned Pawhuska earlier. Who are some of the other teams in Class A that you expect to challenge for the gold ball?
I think Morrison's got a chance to be really good. I saw them this summer at team camp. They were at quarterfinal team last year, and I think got beat by a touchdown maybe against Ringling. And Coach Bells does a great job, and they've got a ton of tradition up there. So I would anticipate them being somebody that's pretty good. I'm sure Ringling will figure out a way to be good again. They have for 15 years, 20 years, however you want to look at it. So I would assume they'd probably be good again. I think Moreland has a chance to be pretty good. Woodland returned a lot of players off a playoff team that was undefeated going into the playoffs, I believe, or maybe had lost one game. I can't remember. So that's the thing with Class A is every year it's so wide open. I mean, I don't think there's been a repeat state champion since O'Keene did it, way back in 2006 or 7 or something like that. So it's generally pretty wide open, and depending on how the season shakes out, there's normally a different 8 teams in the quarterfinals than there was the year before that. Gore's another team that I think is going to be pretty good. So I think there's some good teams out there, but I don't really worry about that all that much. We got to play Rejoice in 2 weeks, so that's kind of what we're worried about right now.
Coach, you received a lot of awards, Coach of the Year awards last year with the job that you did. There's an award that you received that I've been lobbying for you for several years, Athletic Director of the Year. Can you kind of talk about the success that Cashion had all last season and the outlook for the 21-22 school year?
Well, I've said it to anybody that'll listen to me for years. I think, I don't care what sport it is, whether it's football or boys basketball or girls basketball, baseball, golf, whatever you want to pick. I think I would put our coaching staff up against any staff in the state, 6A down, doesn't matter to me. And I think that's not at all a reflection of me as the athletic director. I think it's just a reflection of kind of our whole school and the mentality. And I think a lot of that starts at the top with our superintendent, Sammy Jackson. He's phenomenal. If there's a better one out there, I can't imagine. And his leadership and his desire for everything here to be good. It doesn't matter if it's football or if it's the academic team or the chess club or whatever. I mean, our school, he wants it to be the best possible product that it can be. And we have more support than we could ever ask for. He says yes almost to everything that we want. So, we're fortunate that we're in a great location. We've got a great school, and we've been really, really competitive in athletics for the last few years. And I just look for that trend to kind of continue. I think we've got a chance to be good in football. I think our boys basketball team has a chance to win it. I think our girls basketball team is going to be as good as they've been in a while. Baseball team went to state tournament last year, returned a bunch of players. So, it's just like every day. If the sun comes up, it's a great day to be in Cashion. So, I would imagine every day this year will be just like that.
Coach, Cashion is a Squirtle school, and I know you've been a big proponent of Squirtle and what Squirtle does. Can you give us your perspective on Squirtle and what it does for Cashion athletics and really the town of Cashion?
Squirtle's amazing, and I say this a lot, and I realize the guys that own that, run that, and do all those things are good friends of mine, but it's an amazing product. Just as an example, I can just speak for myself. My mom lives 3.5 hours away, Fort Gibson Lake, and she can sit at home and she can watch us play every Friday night, and they don't have to get in the car and drive over here. But it's like watching a game, on ESPN. I mean, the streaming is incredible. The production's incredible. I think if you just look, I don't know how many people I talked to. I don't know what the viewership was on our Pawhuska game. Judging by the people that have told me they've watched it, it had to be in the thousands. So I think it puts a spotlight on anybody that wants to do it. Anybody that wants to sign up for Squirtle, you're going to have a spotlight put on your athletic programs that is nothing but positive. And then there's a million different ways you can do it. You know, I know there's schools out there that have kids that run the production. And they've started classes to teach kids how to do that. And give kids an avenue to where they can, you know, do that in college and maybe do that as a profession. We've got a kid that, I say kid, he's 21, that's going to do a lot of stuff for us this year. You know, that he played football, but athletics wasn't that big of a deal to him. But he's going to help this year. He's going to do some interviews and some color stuff. And, you know, after doing that, I mean, he got into it last year because of the ag shows that we'd have. He would come and commentate the, you know, our hog shows or steer shows or whatever. And now he wants to do something like that in his future. That wouldn't be there if we didn't have that product and we weren't able to do it. Forget about the advertising dollars and stuff like that you can make, but just the opportunity for people to watch your games that normally wouldn't. You know, it's high school football. I mean, it's not like, you know, people aren't setting up their Friday nights like they do their Saturdays to go to Norman and tailgate and watch the game or Stillwater or wherever. But, you know, if you've got an aunt or an uncle or somebody that lives in, you know, I know Coach Hardaway's got family in Kentucky that watch every one of our basketball games on Skordle. They're able to do that. They're able to follow along. And so, you know, I think it's incredible. The job that those guys do just promoting high school sports in Oklahoma is amazing. You know, their passion for it is everything that it should be. So, you know I sound like a commercial for them, but I tell anybody that'll listen, if you're not doing it, then you're doing it wrong.
Coach, last question for me, and I'll let you go. I know you and Coach Wood have been big Cleveland Browns fans the last couple of years. Since the year that Baker leads the dog pound to the goal.
I don't know if they can surround him with enough talent where, you know, he won't have to win it for him himself. Then yeah, probably. But you know, the Browns in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't know. It might be time to. The rapture might be coming shortly thereafter if that happens.
Very true.
I want to get everything in your life in order.
That's exactly right. Coach Shackelford, thank you for joining us today on the 2021 Squirtle Coaches Preview Show. Best of luck to you and the Wildcats this season.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.